I remember this. Will came up to me and, he came up to me and was like, because he was a previous world champion. He said, he said to me, it was really cool. He said, "You're a world champion, and that's forever. Like, wow. You're gonna be a world champion forever." And that was, and I didn't realize that back then, because it was like so many people come talk to you and interviews and this and that, million phone calls, and you don't get to sit down for a minute and take it all in yet. But yeah, when we were at the bar and we're partying, and he's like, enjoy this time. He said, it's like, because this is the best 2 years of your life, Yeah. And it was pretty cool. So yeah.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Water Ski Podcast, episode 22. This is an interview with Thomas Degasperi, arguably the best water skier in Italian history and one of the best water skiers of all time. I had a chance to sit down with Thomas about a month ago, or maybe even a little bit more, on a trip down to Central Florida, where I got to be at his home, and we had a chance to sit down and have a good chat. Me and Thomas have known each other for a long time, since I was a little kid. But for whatever reason, in the last few years, we didn't really have a chance to connect as much as we used to. So it was really a good opportunity and to sit down and chat and hear his story, which I think is a very good story, a story that will entertain you and will give you something to think about, whether it is from Thomas's early days on the ski to his successes to how he runs his ski school. We have a lot that we cover on in this episode. Before I let you to the interview, I just hope that you are safe. Obviously, there's a very intense and dangerous situation going on worldwide. So if I can hope for anything, is that this podcast will help you maybe get your mind away from what's going on, or if you're already in some kind of lockdown like it is going on back home or in other countries, if you are forced to stay home, or if you're forcing yourself to stay home, I hope this will give you an hour and a half of entertainment. With that said, enjoy the podcast, and we'll catch you next week.
Vai. Tacca.
Perfetto. Ci siamo?
Vai.
Thomas, welcome to the Water Ski Podcast, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Honored to be here.
Well, we're here at your house after a day of skiing. How has it been going? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's been good. Been working a lot, coaching. Was down in Mexico for a couple of weeks, and now time to get serious, time to get back in training mode, and Moomba is approaching, so yeah, Moomba is coming up quickly, so
busy season ahead.
Yeah, it's gonna be busy season this year. Lots of pro tournaments in Europe, some in US, so yeah, we'll be traveling a lot.
Are you excited?
Yeah, very excited, very happy. Hopefully I'll be competing good this year.
Nice. Good. Well, pleasure to be here in your home, having a little chat about, you as a skier. And I will ask whatever I ask to my guest. Why water skiing? How'd you get into it? What were the early days? How'd you get exposed?
Well, my dad started a ski school over 45 years ago in northern Italy. And in the summers, he was a teacher in physics in high school, and his best friend took over the ski school a long time ago, and he needed some help back then to kind of run the place, and my dad kind of got dragged into it, and he started liking it, and he did that for combining teaching and ski school in the summer for a few years, and back then you were allowed to retire whenever you want to, kind of in Italy. So he retired early from teaching because he fell in love with water skiing, and he took over the place. And his friend, at some point, he didn't want to continue, and so my dad volunteered to take over. And since then, it's been his life. And when I was a young kid, we were kind of stuck at the lake because my parents were there working, so running a ski school. So when I was 5 years old, they asked me if I wanted to try, and I tried it, and it started as more as a game and, just a fun time with my friends. And then, first small results start coming, and first small tournaments wins. And I think the breaking through point was more like when I was 14, when I won my first junior European title. And from there, kind of like went up to leading to be more serious about it, and learning more about the sport and learning more what it could be doing for me.
And so when you started, like you were 5 or 6, had your dad already taken over the ski school at the time, or was it still that transition period with your dad's friend? Do you remember?
No, he already was the owner, and he was full my family, only my family. My mom was kind of like dealing with little restaurant kind of type. She was cooking for the students, and we moved to another place when I was about 7 or 8, and that's the place that we are now.
Okay.
Same spot on the lake, but same lake, but different spot. And he brought many champions to the water skiing world, like from Italy, and Marina Mosti skied there, Cristiano Rampanelli skied there, Irene Reinstaller skied there, I skied there, Marco Menestrina skied there, I think he put his knowledge of physics into water skiing, and it worked out pretty good.
I had no idea your dad was a physics teacher.
Oh,
At first I thought, no lie, I thought you meant like PE. But no, like physics.
Physics, like physics, labs and stuff. And
so cool.
Yeah.
Now, I know that your dad, for a while, like obviously the season at home is a bit shorter, and you live next to the mountains, so a lot of snow skiing. Wasn't he sort of alternating, like he was on the slopes in the winter?
Yeah. So even me growing up, my dad has always been involved with many, many sports. So he did, when he was younger, he used to he practiced every sport. Like he was in soccer, cycling, skydiving. Skydiving, yeah. He did tennis. Every sport, he probably did it.
Wow.
And so he was always a very active person. And for me, I play a lot of sports. I play judo, I play tennis, I play volleyball, I play soccer. I competed in snow ski racing for 7 years. I did a lot of sports in the winter, but it was always in preparation for water skiing. So the main focus was always water skiing.
Yeah.
But, it was also a way to stay with my friends because my classmates were kind of doing the same thing. Like we're either snow skiing together or playing soccer in a team together. But then in the summer, we're always water skiing together.
Yeah, and where you're from in Trento, like Trentino as a region is notorious for being very athletic. A lot of people are always outdoors, even just like hiking and doing all sorts of activities.
Yeah, we're very blessed because I think like the way that the city and the way they promote sports, it's very active lifestyle. Like you gotta get your kids out. You gotta, we have a beautiful surroundings of mountains, lake, rivers, anything, and a lot of place to spend time outdoor. And they really try to push to, people to be out and enjoy the scenery around.
Yeah. This is gonna be a little strange because I'm asking you questions that already know the answer, but go ahead.
Okay.
Tricks, jump, like were you just slaloming? What was the early days?
No, I started doing everything. Tricks, slalom, and jump was, definitely my agenda every day. Let's say tricking was my worst spot because I was pretty decent in hands, but terrible in toes. I could never figure out toes. So it was kind of like my weak spot. And jumping, since I was a little bit overweight back then and I like the food more than anything, I was never really good until almost the last 2 years before I quit jumping. And I don't know, I think I jumped like 40 meters or something. And,
there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. But I remember I really enjoy jumping. And I remember one time I almost went 45 and it was like, oh, that's pretty good. But it was practice, of course. But I really enjoy jumping. But, being almost 6'4" and pretty heavy guy, it was definitely not my best thing to do.
Yeah, like it wasn't the event that your body was leaning towards. But obviously jump is super exciting, but you also had Rampa nearby. Obviously Boo Boo was still active. So you also had some models to go after.
Like I remember when I was younger, like seeing Boo Boo Alessi was like, it's like a god. It's like he just won the World Championships in Singapore. And back then, like the Italian Federation was like doing a lot of VHS cassettes, covering mostly like every pro tournament that they were doing, the Italian team, and kind of following them around. And I remember like watching them at home like over and over and over and over and over again. And I knew every single results and like Europeans, Worlds, and some other tournaments. And I knew more probably than they did.
Yeah.
Like the results. Oh, Boo Boo, yeah, he won the World. I still remember now the World Championships in 1993 in Singapore was 60.5.
Yeah.
Second Scott Livingstone, third Jim Clooney.
Yeah.
Exactly. I still remember everything because the cassette, like I was watching it over and over, and I was like, I want to be that.
Yeah, we had when I was staying at Claudio's when I was a kid, we had the '91 Villac Worlds.
Oh yeah, so I was there.
You were there?
I was there. Me and my parents and some students took a drive since we were very close to Austria. We went up, and I remember like I actually got sick on the way back down, but went up there and it was like a massive amount of people and lots of people, like thousands of spectators, and my dad was just, all he wanted to do was watch the slalom event. Like the slalom finals was the thing that he's like, I don't care if we miss everything else, but I want to watch the men's slalom finals. And Lucky Low, won that event, and I have this glimpse in my head where it's a sunny day and tons of people and people screaming, TVs, and yeah, it was pretty memorable.
Yeah, what was it? Shelander, Mapple, and Lucky Low ran off for gold.
I don't remember the results because they were not on the cassette, but but I know the Lucky Low won. So,
yeah, it was unbelievable. But yeah, I understand that that's sort of like watching. You're young, you're trying to learn, and then obviously, if the Italian Federation was doing that, then there was good chances that you were seeing these skiers at some tournaments. Yeah. So you even had like stardom, but often in the summer, all right. So, and then you said like the first moment you figured out you were getting good was that U14 European Championship.
Yeah, I think that year I broke the European Junior Champion, the European Junior record, and I don't remember if it was one at 39 or 1 at 38. I don't remember. I might be wrong, but I remember breaking it for sure, the Italian record. And that kind of gave me a boost a little bit. But then the following years, I went to culinary school, and I was eating a lot and learning about cooking, and I was a little bit overweight, and nothing really happened after that as far as big results. And then I think the big turnover was in 2001 when we went to the European Under-21 Championships in Portugal, and Tanguy Benet was the coach back then of the Italian team. And I remember I was top seed in the first round, and I remember there was Tom Asher, Will Asher, and me at the starting dock in the final. So it was like them two, and then I was the last one off.
Pretty crowded dock.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting there getting ready and trying to get pumped or something, listen to music. And I remember that the Open World Championships were going to be 2 weeks later in Recetto, Italy.
Yep.
And I was not even thinking about like going there. I was like, the team has been made, everything is set, and
it's a process at home. The team, so many slalomers.
Yeah, there was like, Italy was like full of slalom skiers and very competitive, and a spot for me was not even in my mind. And I was just concentrating on the tournament. Here goes Tomasher. He runs like 2:39. Will is about to get in. And Tanguy is like trying to pump me up on the dock. And he goes, by the way, Thomas, if you win today and you prove me that you can win today, I'll bring you to Rocchetto to the World Championships. So in that moment, I didn't have just the enough pressure of that tournament, but I was like, okay, if I screw this up, I'm not going to the Worlds. And I wanted to go to Worlds because that's, for us, it's like the Olympic Games.
Right.
And at that point, I was like, I don't remember what I thought, but it's like, I got to do it. I just got shut everything else out and just win this. And I went out, I think Will ran 3:39 and I ran 4 or something. I don't know. Anyway, I won and I was so happy. And I called my parents. I said, I'm going to the Worlds. I'm going to the Worlds in 2 weeks in Rocchetto. I'm so happy. And, you know, I was a young kid. I was 20 years old. And for me, it was, you know, it was very humbling to be part of this tournament. And I know I made a lot of people mad, and Tanguy made a lot of people mad because the team was made and people was preparing for this tournament, you know,
right.
And I had to take the spot of somebody else. But yeah, that's for sure was the turnover for me. I went to the World Championships 2 weeks later. I was probably one of the youngest kids. Yeah. And I made to the finals and I got 4th place. And, you know, from there I was like, okay, this is going to be my life. Yeah. This is my path. This is my road. And this is what I got to do.
And I know we talked about it several times of how that moment, and you've said it several times, how that moment, that opportunity, and you took advantage of it. You were able to ski well, because I remember 4.5 at 39, like you were.
Yeah, I was in it. I was actually running 39, and I don't know what I did, a 5-ball, but it was like, I was just skiing, and then I was like on the dock with Mapple and all these guys. It was like Fabrizio Ciapponi was in the finals, like Steve Cockram and Drew Ross, Chris Parrish. I never met these guys. I only like seen them in magazines and videos. And I'm like, now I'm just sitting there sharing the finals of the World Championship with these guys, sharing precious moments that, they will stay forever in my life. And yeah, I was one of, I think was mid-series in the finals, and I ran 4.5 at 39, and I was like leading, and then I was like, people start going down. I was like, oh, top 5.
Yeah, because I think, did you ski before or after Andy?
I ski before Andy. I ski before Parrish. I ski before everybody that beat me that got into the podium. Yeah. So maybe, but I remember it was, what's his name? I don't remember. Anyways, Steve Cockram, Fabrizio, Glenn Campbell, Jody Fisher, those guys, and 2 at 39, 3 at 39. I was like, oh, I'm holding up here. And then I was like, I can't believe I almost making podium. And then it didn't happen, but
Drew Ross, was close.
Yeah, it was very close.
Because I think Andy skied after you. He did that famous 3, and he was early at 3.
He smoked 39.
He smoked 39, that famous picture, 2-ball with just like 2 fingertips. Yeah. And then he's early at 3, and he just kind of turns easy, takes his foot off the kicker, and just says hi to the crowd. Yeah. And then just people started falling. And everyone thought, because I was there, I was like 12 or 13. And we all thought, man, he's going to make it. And then I think Drew got...
Drew got 5, I think, or maybe
Drew got one, and then
Parrish.
CP off the dock last 2. Yeah. So it was up until the end you were pretty much on the podium.
Yeah. So that was a pretty good moment for me, and that year I got signed with Nautique back then, and and it was definitely an incentive for me, and I got offered a scholarship to go to study in Louisiana.
So you weren't at ULM at the time?
No, I was still in Italy, and I was like, okay, what I'm gonna do now? And that year, after the World Championships, I said, well, I talked to my dad and my parents. I said, I have to find a place where I can go train in the winter. So I packed my stuff and I went to McCormick's in December, and to train and work and kind of coach and learning English, because my English was very bad. And then I went there, and that year I remember was particularly cold in December and January, so there was not much skiing there. So I kind of went home for another month and then went back there. And then I received like an email or a letter from University of Louisiana Monroe offering me a scholarship to be part of their ski team. And I was a little bit not sure if going or not. But at the time, there was a couple of Italian guys, Marco Riva and Federico Minelli, that kind of gave me a push to like, help me direct myself in which direction, kind of learn how the school system works and everything. And so it was good because I could combine studying with sports. So that year in August, I packed my bags and left everything behind. Not behind, but I kind of left and went study in Louisiana.
So basically the winter between 01 and 02, you were at McCormick's a little bit, then got home, did the season again, and then moved in 2002 to
In
Monroe.
August, I went to school for 2 weeks, and then I came back because I was still under 21. And I remember went to the under 21 European Championships in Greece. I won that one. And then a week later, I went to Rockbrunn and won my first European Open title.
Yeah, I remember that year I won the under 14 Europeans, Matteo Ianni the junior Europeans, and you won the U21 and
Yeah.
That was
pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good Italian year that year.
Yeah.
And so Bon, you came back, you did the U21, you did the Open, and then off you went to Monroe.
I started this new experience. I didn't know what to expect because you only see university life in movies in Italy, and you don't know. And it's pretty epic. Met good people, got through college, and then that was also like another decision to make, is like, what do I do now after college? Do I go back home to Italy, or do I continue to pursue my career as a water skier? I need to find a place in Florida, and that's where I came.
Yeah. How were those 4 years in college? Like let's stick to skiing. Like, were you able to work on your skiing? Were you able to go to tournaments? How did you grow as a skier in those 4 years?
We did a lot of collegiate tournaments, but fortunately enough, like our school would let us, miss time from classes by, we're excused to go into some pro events and big events like the World Championships or the European Championships. And it was good because I got to meet a lot of good skiers. They're still in the circuit now, like Ryan Dodd and Natalia and Brienne, and Regina was there. So it kind of created like a close group of athletes that really got integrated into water skiing, and we were all growing together to be better. And so Alexei was there too. Yeah. So a lot of skiers that became who they are now, like multiple world champions and world record holder, or their name speaks their results. And I remember like we were trying always to help each other and try to ski together between classes. And the good thing is like we always had full access to the lake, and the lake was very close to school, and we could go there anytime we want to. So it was definitely a good learning experience for me.
Did you enjoy the collegiate skiing part, like the team aspect, go to nationals, the cheer?
Because you never get to experience that anywhere else.
Yeah.
So the first nationals that we won in 2002, I wasn't expecting to have, I don't know how many skiers are there, maybe a couple hundred or.
Maybe. Nowadays it's like 400.
Yeah, I thought about 400, but I didn't want to shoot too high. It was insane because it's like we don't get to experience that in Europe, and not everybody takes it serious, but that's the fun of it, Exactly. I remember it's like people going over the ramp with a Superman suit or Batman suit, and people that never jumped in their life, they went over the ramp the first time at nationals, and their teams like just going crazy after, and.
Classic recruiting on campus. Hey, have you ever water skied? Come over with us.
We go to nationals.
We go to nationals. That's a ramp. You go over it.
But even then, like you get to meet so many good people, and most of the people are there to having a good time and spend a good weekend together. And that's what it's all about: sharing experience about the sport and and meet new people.
And I think a lot of it is also like, because obviously me and you, we went to schools that took it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
We were paid to do it. I mean, we had a scholarship, but it becomes a team thing, right?
Yeah.
So where, you know,
you get involved like
Yeah.
crazy. Like I remember when we won the national title in Bennett in Louisiana, we won to Lafayette for 5 points out of, what is it, 8,000?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah,
for 5.
9,000.
It never happened in the history of, national collegiate water skiing. And 5 points is like,
it's less than a placement.
yeah, you can't even equate to half a buoy or nothing.
No, it's crazy.
Less, it's
Because you get 10 points per placement,
Mm-hmm.
but if you tie, they split the points, and that's where you get the fives sometimes. So literally everyone skied, like, it could have been up to anything.
And I remember it was like ULM team on the dock at the end of Saturday and ULL team on the same dock. And I remember Regina trying to figure out if we won or not with all these numbers. And they were just waiting. And then Tony Lightfoot just announced it, and for 5 points. And of course, very, very, exciting for us, very disappointing for them for 5 points, because at the end of the day, we're pretty much at the same level.
But I heard the next year they got you back.
Oh, big time. Big time. So we started off in Paducah, and that was my last national. I won the slalom event, and we started off pretty good. Like we were like ahead big time in coming into the jump event.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty good team. We had Fred Minelli, we had Joey Blakely, we had Ryan Dodd, but for some reason the ULL team just crushed it.
Yeah.
And they destroyed us.
Wow.
And they won, and maybe we got too cocky. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they won, and they deserve to win. But yeah, it was like 2002 we won, 2003 they won, 2004 we won, 2005 they won.
Yeah.
And it was equal, so that's good.
Yeah,
It's
no.
even,
In your career it was equal, yeah.
Yeah,
In mine, we got a streak of seconds, and then the last year we managed to get it. But I think it's like it becomes so much more meaningful when it's a team event, because like,
for sure.
Because you pulled Natalia in toes for so many times, and you needed her toe pass or her hands pass.
Or Alexei for an hour and a half.
Or Alexei, or someone skis bad, so you're going there to help them. You're going to replace the buoys. Like it becomes so much more than just your own skiing, right?
But also like the bond that you create during this time, you don't do it anywhere else.
Right.
Like you don't get to experience the intensity, the adrenaline, the happiness or the sadness that you get to these events. Because, of course, we go to win, Lafayette goes to win, other team goes to win, and many other teams go just to have fun and participate. But for us, because we're paid as far as, scholarship, we go to win, because that's why the university invests in us. Yeah. And it's just so much tension there. It's like, but it's so fun. It's so fun, because like you bond with everybody, you become brothers for that time, and it's really, really fun.
Yeah, no, those are good 4 years, and then
I will do it right away again.
Yeah, same here. The best 4 years.
Oh yeah.
But then they get to an end, and you say, okay, well, now it's time you made the decision.
Yeah.
Well, you said it was time to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
And the decision was to go down to Florida to train.
Yep.
How did you figure that one out?
So that was in 2000. I graduated in 2006 in December. I went to Moomba, and then I came back to Italy, spent the summer in Italy. And in 2007, I won my first world title in Linz, in Austria. And again, it pushed me to say, okay, I got to go back to Florida and ski, because I'm getting these results, and now it's really time to
push.
Yeah, to look forward to be a professional.
Yeah.
So after winning my first world title, I talked to Drew Ross, and I asked him if he needed somebody to go and help him out, and if I could go ski there, and he said yes. And so I packed my bags again in September or October of 2007, and I moved to Florida, and worked there for 5 years, skied there for 5 years, learned a lot from him, great coach, and so then I started. I was living in a trailer on $1 million lot. I will say that over and over. Like beautiful place, beautiful view in a trailer. And then the time came where kind of the economy crashed, and it was a good time to buy a house, and that's where we're sitting right now. And then in 2011, I won my second world title, and I got the opportunity to move to another lake where I could kind of do my own thing, and you know, I took the ball and moved away from Bangkok, where I was, you know, for 5 years, and now I'm there. I purchased the house a few years later, and I'm sitting here, and spend the winter here, summers in Italy. It works out pretty good so far.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got from basically, what was it, the university days to now.
Too quickly.
I mean, I guess in like a minute and a half, but a lot of things happened there, right?
Yes.
And I'm gonna ask you this question. I don't know the answer actually. So you won 2 worlds. Mm-hmm. Which one is the one that is your favorite?
I'll say the first one. The first one came more as a surprise.
Okay.
Because, you know, again, you're sitting on the dock with all these guys, and I knew I was skiing good. I would say equal, because the first one came with surprise, and euphoria there was insane. Like, my parents were there, my friends were there, it was insane. It was such a good memory. The second one, it was equally good because it was not as a surprise, but in the eyes of many other people, they expect you to do good. So The first one, it was like, oh, this guy won the Worlds. Maybe just was his day, you know?
Right.
And then that was in 2007. I got second in 2009 in Canada. And then in 2011, I won again in Russia. So as far as happiness, instant gratification, maybe the first one. But confirming on the second one, in a long run, was better for me.
Yeah.
Because the first one is like, I was jumping up and down. I was like, I cried, and, you know, my parents are there.
Give us the story. Give us the Linz Worlds.
Linz. So
Prelims,
I don't remember what I ran. I don't remember. But I remember that in the finals, I was sitting in fourth or fifth place. And then go out in final, ran 3:41. I was like, this must be podium.
The Tgas score, man.
The Tgas score.
The Tgas score.
Yeah, I ran that a few times, yeah. So 3:41, and I was like, and I remember my parents being on the shore, and I wanted to go talk to them, but I was like, I gotta sit here, because if there's a runoff or something happened, I gotta be here.
Yeah, and in China, it turned out that 3:41 was runoff for podium.
Yeah, between Glenn and
Will. So yeah,
that was not a good trip for me. But anyway, so I sit there, and I remember there's Marcus Brown after me. There was Jeff Roger, Chris Rossi, and maybe Glenn. I remember Marcus didn't run, I don't know if he ran 39 or not. Anyway, and then it goes Chris Rossi, and Rossi ran 1 or 41?
5.5 at 39.
Oh, okay. You're 5.5 at 39.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was on the podium, so I was happy. And then Rossi went down. I was like, oh, only Jeff Roger, which won the 2003 World Championships in Florida. I was like, this guy. And I said, I might be a world champion here today. And then he goes out, smokes 135 at,
classic.
Like Banks is 135 at 39. He runs it, and I think he runs 2.
Yeah.
He runs 2, and I remember sitting on the dock. There was Bubo Alessi, the coach at the time, the other coach, Betta Galli, and the president of the Italian Federation, Silvio, back then. And it was just exploding. I was like, and the thing that I remember is like even 39 and 41 in the finals, I had both times, on both passes, gate reviews.
Ooh.
And it was intense because, I talked to Marcus after. It was like, did you go through the gates? I was like, man, I think I did. But, at that speed, maybe I touched it. I don't know,
Right.
But they review for a long time after and it was clear. But I remember that was pretty intense. And then, when I won, it was like, I cheer, I screamed over there, but then I changed very quick and I ran to my parents,
Yeah.
And it was pretty epic to me to show that because I'm very close to my parents and, my dad is a hero for me, my best friend, and my parents are always been supportive. So for me, that was a pretty memorable time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I had an interview with Adam and Corey. What was the first few hours like? The first day after? The first 3 months? How did that develop?
Well, I remember that night we went out dinner with Dave Good and my parents and my ex-girlfriend back at the time and Clint Stadebauer and his family. And then my parents, I think, took off and went back to Italy. And then we went out partying. Because it was a Saturday still. It was Saturday.
Yeah.
The finals were Saturday, so there was still jump the next day. And we went out, and I remember this. Will came up to me, and, he came up to me and was like, because he was a previous world champion. He said, he said to me, it was really cool. He said, you're world champion, and that's forever. Like,
wow.
You're going to be a world champion forever. And that was, and I didn't realize that back then because it was like so many people come talk to you and interviews and this and that, million phone calls, and you don't get to sit down for a minute and take it all in yet.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time. Like, even when I got home after, it was like, people was like contacting you. It was like, okay, what did I do here?
Right.
And,
right.
But yeah, when we were at the bar and then we're partying and he's like, enjoy this time. He said, it's like, because this is the best 2 years of your life,
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. So
yeah, and hearing it from him, like someone that had gone through
and
it,
then,
your, archie rival, like, I mean, the
since
rivalry,
we're 14.
Yeah, the rivalry between you and Will is probably one of the, along with Wade and Andy.
Yeah, that's what people said. They compare us to Wade and Andy, and because it's been going on for a long time. And at my house in Italy, I have the pictures of my European and juniors and under 21, and like you can see me and Will on the podium a lot of times together in the pictures, and like you see us growing as mans,
That's so cool.
And even after in the pro tours and collegiate tournaments and this and that, I think it's kind of cool,
I think it's super cool.
It gives a little more pepper on the plate,
Yeah, no, of course, and it pushes you, I mean,
Yeah,
you guys were on top of the world back and forth for like 80 years.
Yeah.
4 world championships.
5, 7,
9,
9, 11. Yeah. I got second in 15. Yeah. So yeah. Many years. Yeah. That's good.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So it tells you this thing the evening of the day that you win. So obviously you have like a moment of like, oh shit, wow. Like, what was the first month after? Like, did you have more tournaments afterwards? Like,
yeah, we actually had a European Championships 2 weeks after in Recetto, I think. Yeah, in Recetto.
Yeah.
So there was no really time to sit down and go on vacation. So we get back to Italy and time to train again.
Right.
Back on the saddle. And
you show up on the dock, you're world champ. I mean, what was that? Like,
it was, like everybody's looking at you with different eyes and like everybody, oh, he's going to win. But it's not that easy because now you have pressure on your head, on your shoulder and every tournament is different.
Yeah.
It can be your day, it can be not your day. But I end up winning that one too.
Oh, so you won Europeans.
I won Worlds and Europeans. Yeah. And it was in Recetto, I think I ran 2:41, and it was a pretty good month for me.
yeah, I guess that's a pretty damn good month.
Yeah.
When was your first pro win?
First pro win, I think it was New Zealand Pro Am 2006. No. Yeah, 2006. My first, maybe Ski West Pro. Ski West Pro is just west of Paris. I went there. I remember sharing a room with Todd Risaselli, and I didn't even know the guy.
Right.
But it was actually pretty fun. So, pro tournament, everybody's there. Everybody from US, everybody. I ran 3:41 in the final, tying for the lead with Glenn Campbell and Jason Paredes.
Yeah.
So 3-way ties run off for first, second, and third. Starting at 39, cold.
Yeah.
I ran 39 and I ran 41, and I got one at 43. It didn't count because it's a runoff.
Right.
But it was pretty good for me. I won that pro tournament. I think that was my first pro tournament that I won. Hop on the car with Wade Cox, Billy Susie, and Nick Parsons on Sunday. Drove to Lacanau. And the following weekend, there was the Malibu Open in France, in Lacanau.
Right.
Went down there, won that one too. So back-to-back pro tournament. Yeah, back-to-back pro tournament that week, in a week. It was pretty good. And that year, I remember I met Lonnie Farmer, which she was the marketing manager of Malibu Boats. And that year I signed with Malibu. And I've been with them since then.
14 years.
Since 2007.
Oh, 13, yeah.
13 years, yeah.
That's crazy.
Best company in the world.
But I mean, wow. Like, first pro win followed by another pro win.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I'm sure you had your bag of like not making the semifinals, going to pro tournaments and struggling. So like,
oh my gosh, so many. Yeah.
Like everyone else, like the
I dirt for many, many times,
Yeah.
going to a tournament. I remember flying to Sacramento in 2004, 2005 to the Malibu Open. So live in Italy on Thursday, get there Thursday night to Sacramento, skiing on Friday, didn't even make the first cut, calling Delta Airlines and flying out on Saturday to go back home. Yeah. That one, I did it for 2 or 3 years in a row. And I was like, but I never gave up. I always continued because I love this. Mm-hmm. I love it so much. Mm-hmm. Until now, like even now, like people ask me, what you want every major event that can win multiple times. And what makes you keep going? I said, I just love it. I love getting in the water. Like even practice, and it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. Of course, if I win or do good, it's better. But there's no better feeling for me, and that's I think why I'm still on top of the game. Yeah. Because I love what I do. I enjoy it. I seek it. I seek good feelings in the water. I just enjoy it very, very much.
Yeah. So is it? Because that's like an interesting point. Like as you said, you've won everything multiple times. Mm-hmm. So obviously winning always feels good. Mm-hmm. But what is it that pushes you right now? Like, I mean, it's February. I mean, today's a great day, but I'm sure 2 days ago was cold and you were in the water trying to read buoys, trying to prepare. What is it, just like trying to understand it? Is it pushing yourself and see where you can get?
No, I think is I always try to improve myself, and I always look forward to trying new things. So either it's a technique, skis, movements, stands on the ski, different things. And for me, that's what makes it fun. Learning what one movement can do, learning what the ski can do, trying something new. But definitely the love of the sport, but Moomba is approaching and for us, and it's time to get serious. But when I try something new on the gate and either I like it or I don't like it, that's the feeling that I want to see. That I want to look for it is like try something different all the time.
Yeah.
Try to improve, try to make myself better. Seek for perfection. There's no perfection, but you always try to find something better because there's no end goal. You can never stop improving in water skiing, no matter who you are. world record, world champion. There's no end. There's no finish line.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what makes it fun.
There's always an extra buoy.
Yes.
Always
So
an extra buoy.
that's the fun part. No matter how good you are, there's always something more to do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's pretty powerful. All right. So 2 worlds. You won a Masters.
Yep.
How was that?
That was one of I always want to win. The Masters, you know, there's so much hype around the Masters because it's hard to qualify. It's a tough place to go ski. It's hard to qualify for the finals because they take from 7 to 4. And it's really hard to win.
Yeah.
You know, and the Masters been around forever, 60 years, 61 years. And the thing that I just learned is there's only 2 sports in the world that can be called the Masters: the golf of Masters and the water ski Masters. There's no other sports that can be called the Masters, so it adds a little bit of more prestige to it.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the Masters I won in 2004. I think I've been to the Masters 15 times, and I got second places, I got third places, but only one win. And it was pretty epic because it's hard. It's a tough field. It's super adrenaline rushing. And I remember in the finals, it was Will, me, Aaron Larkin, and John Travers qualify top seed. Will went out, ran 3.5 at 39.
Do you remember who was on the dock with you?
Oh, yeah. Will went first.
No, like who was on the dock with you? Yeah.
You were.
Yeah.
I remember after for sure, but even before. And yeah, everybody went out and I was like, I got to take a different approach here. And I went out at 35 off instead of 32 off. And my 39 was a rodeo. I remember almost losing the handle, but managed to run 39. I was like, I got to get a good gate here at 41 and pull like a bull through the gates, got to 1 ball, pull hard to injure my back really bad at 2 ball, but I didn't let go. Went around 3 S-turn.
Tgas score.
Back to the center, through the fist. I was like, this is it. This is in the books. And I wasn't 100% sure because I still had Aaron Larkin and John Travers behind me, but
that's a big score.
And at Robin Lake, that is a big score. Yeah, that's the winning score. If you look at it, if it's that or less,
yeah,
few times is more. Like I think only Chris Parrish ran 4 one time in the preliminary round. But yeah, that was an important moment for my career too, because that was one that I wanted to add to it. And of course, the Moomba is important for me, and the Malibu Open for sure.
But you had won Moomba prior to that Masters, so...
No, that year I won the Moomba in 14. I won the Moomba in March, and I won the Masters in...
Was that your first Moomba?
Yes.
So basically you showed up to Masters. I mean, I'm assuming your thought was, this is the only one left.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I'm assuming. I mean, you had won 2 worlds.
Yeah.
You won a gazillion Europeans. You had just won Moomba. Like, wow, what's left?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was pretty good. But too bad I didn't get to party that night because my back was really bad. Yeah. Now it's good, so that's good.
There you go. Mm-hmm. What is it true that only you and Andy did Moomba Masters the same year?
I heard that too, but I don't know if it's true. Because I don't think Will did it that year. Because Will won the Moomba in 15, but I don't think I think Nate won that Masters that year, and I don't know who else could have done it.
I don't know. I was thinking maybe like CP, the year that he won Moomba, maybe he won. I don't know. Like I've heard it's only you and Andy that did it.
The same year, yeah.
The same year, Moomba and Masters.
Well, I like that.
That's a pretty high achievement, you know?
Yeah.
And it's early in the season. Like the season hasn't technically even started yet, but you've already skied the 2 biggest pro tournaments of the year, you know?
Yeah, you can always just hang the ski on the wall. I was like, I'm done.
June, July, we'll see.
I'm going to Ibiza.
Oh, man. All right. And so I guess one of the things I wanted to ask you, and I know the story, but I gotta say I don't know it fully. Your ski.
My ski.
Your ski. The ski that you ski on.
Lots of questions around that ski.
You know? But I do remember how it came about. Would you want to share it?
So it was the 2009 World Championships. Actually, it started in 2008. Nick Parson calls me. He's like, I got a fat ski for you. Because Nick was with Dave Good and, you know, kind of working on something. And then short and fat. I'm like, okay, send it down. And he sent me down this thing that looked like a table. It was so wide, never seen something like that. And he's like, just try it. I was like, okay, I'm going to go out and try it. And I remember, because the way I ski, people knows, on 135, I'm pretty famous to jump on top of the ski. And so I tried it, and I was like, this is pretty good.
Right.
You know, and I rode it for about a year. And then in 2009, there were championships in Canada. I rode that ski again, and I got second. Got second at the Europeans that year too. And then I was like, okay, the ski's good, but it could be something better.
Well, sorry, sideways. You won those Europeans in Denmark. Won
that was in 2009. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 2009. Yeah, 2009. Bravo, Matteo. You remember. Yeah, I won the Europeans then. So, I called Dave and I said, there's any way we can do, because I said, I like the ski on 135 on my offside because there's a lot of support. So it's wide, it supports me. 2 and 4 is a little slow.
Yeah.
Fat tip, wide ski, kind of tip came up a little bit. And talking through a little bit, I was like, is it ever been done? You know, and I think only Chris Lapointe was the only one that actually did a cut up ski and made it symmetrical. So I said, Dave, I like my, at the time it was a 9900 on my own side. I like the wide ride on my off side. What can we do? Can we cut him up and do it? It's like, yeah, it's a little tough challenge because it's different rocker, different positioning and stuff. So I went up and those guys just cut a ski and a half, not a ski and a half, glue it together, kind of press it, and then he sends it down. And I remember at the time, Boo Boo Alessi was here. And I was like, I'm a little cautious because it's like a glued ski. It's like, you don't know what's going to happen if it breaks. Anyways, I go out and I was a Drew steel and I ran like 5:41. First set. I was like, this is it. Bingo. You know? And then Dave made a mold out of it and we cut it. And throughout the years, I'm still on that ski. We've been playing so much with rocker, stiff, softer, and bevels and positioning on the bindings, because that my bindings are not completely center. Fin settings, because the fin settings is you have nothing to relate or compare to because there's no ski like that.
Right.
And it's been working pretty good so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, you would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember the story that Boo Boo always said that you were like, with the wide ride, you could get to 1:41 clockwork, but 41 was hard. Whereas with the 9900, you weren't as consistent at 39, but you could go down 41. Mm-hmm. So now you have a decision to make, right? And the idea, I remember the conversations about combining the two and see what would happen. Has it ever been done?
Actually, it was also Boo Boo's idea. Not just mine. I gotta give him credit. He kind of like started the buzz in my head, and there were championships in Canada, and it kind of started like developing into this project and brought me to the ski where I am now. Yeah. And how? So
I'm assuming that by now you know the flex that you like. You know what works.
No, actually, we keep playing with stuff. Last year.
To this day.
Yeah. We added more rocker to the tip last year, and then I liked it, and I got a ski coming now, so hopefully it will be good. And they changed the core of the skis that I use now, so I'm kind of anxious to try this carbon core.
Yeah,
it seems better into many other skis that I've seen other people riding. It seems like the end of the turn looks better. Maybe it's a little bit lighter, so it comes around quicker. So I'm excited.
Nice. What do you think happened? Because obviously you then won a Worlds in Russia with this, right? And you had good years. I mean, remember, 09 to 11, you were dominating, you were doing well at tournaments. So naturally, and you were already on the ski. So my thinking is, why didn't other companies pursue this idea properly? Did you give it any thought?
Maybe because nobody knew at the time.
Okay.
Nobody knew what I was riding. And a lot of people kind of asked, but it was like, oh, just a new ski.
Right.
I wasn't too secret about it because like Nick and everybody knew, but good. But now it's more out there, and I really don't know why people don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
because people that tries my ski, that let them try my ski, they end up loving it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I remember when you started that, and you kind of came to me because like we're both right foot forwards. Maybe I'm slightly lighter than you, but not that much lighter. And you said, dude, just get one. I mean, the mold is there, right? But I don't know, maybe it's a fact that it's a lot of cost in molds because you would have to have 2 molds per size. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, that could be it. But people like it. People that try liked it. So I like it. It's stable. It's fast. Supports you. It reacts always the same for me. So I know, if you're sitting on the dock in a tournament and you don't have to worry about your ski, that's a good start.
I think that's a massive start.
Yeah, because not a lot of people, but knowing what to expect from the ski, it's already a good point in the tournament. And I know that my ski performs the way I want it. I know what's gonna do underneath me. So, yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, there's so many. I said with so many guests, there's so many variables in our sport, and I think equipment, especially in my own skiing, I've gotten to realize equipment is a humongous variable in our sport.
Almost.
And the fact that you feel you're at a point where you don't have to worry about it, I think that's a great point to be.
Oh yeah. And I don't like to try like a million skis at a time because then I think you lose your base point, your reference point. Yeah. Because if a ski works and then I try another one, then another one, which one is good now, Right. But that's my personal idea. I'm not judging or anything, but I rather stick to, one ski that works for me and then be confident with that one.
And so given that, I mean, equipment is a humongous variable, but it's one of the many, and you've kind of been consistent in that one. What have you been working on, let's say in the last 3 to 5 years? What are the things you're trying to redefine in your skiing? Is it the physical? Is it the nutrition, the technique, the balance in general? Like what have you been sort of striving to improve?
I think physical. I've been struggling a little bit the last 5 years with back injuries, but always at the same time of the year. And I didn't understand what was going on until I changed my bed. Okay. But mostly physical, try to, you always, as I said earlier, you always try to look for something better, to ski better. And you always want to try to get an extra buoy. How are you going to do it? You analyze this and that. And mostly physical and mental. Because it's, healthy head, healthy mind is a healthy body. It's a good combination to have. So if one of the two is missing, then...
And they're connected too, right?
Yeah, you create unbalance,
Tough to have a healthy mind in not so much of a healthy body, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I try to stay healthy and, I don't think at this point I have to prove anything to anybody. It's more a game of me enjoying what I'm doing, And I'm still enjoying it very much. And I don't think I ever quit skiing completely.
Right.
So they all will stay with me.
Yeah, no, and I think it's admirable. It probably says a lot about your upbringing, how you got into the sport. You strike me as one of those skiers that will always be skiing.
Yeah, sure.
For in one way or another.
But also the way I think that I fell in love with the sport is because I never was pushed to do it. I never was forced to do it. And my parents always said, "Hey, if you want to do it, you do it. If you don't want to do it, do something else."
Right.
And unfortunately nowadays you see, kids that ski because they're pushed by their parents, and as soon as they have the opportunity to decide for themselves, they quit.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer because, you know, it should be... I never got pushed or forced to do this sport. I always wanted to do it because it also kept me close to my family.
Yeah. Because your brother was skiing, right?
Yeah, he was skiing. He was actually much better than me. But then he had back problems and he was not really into it too much and kind of quit at a young age of 14 or 15 years old.
Oh, okay.
But he was pretty good back then.
That's what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it goes back to say, you know, it was a family thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Which that's a lot of water skiing, right? Like it's a family sport.
Oh, yeah.
More often than not, you get involved because of family.
Yeah, and also I see it with my ski school, you know, like I'm sure there's a lot of sports that are great for family but this is a sport that keeps families together. It keeps kids off of the street, you know,
Yeah.
and it makes you grow in a better way. And it creates bond with friends and family, and I think it's great.
I mean, you're outdoors, you know,
Yeah.
so I mean, I don't care because we always talk about the difference between, say, where we grew up in the US, right? Like we grew up in club environment, a lot of people around, right? Oftentimes in the US is like maybe private man-made lake or like camping on a public lake, but not a lot of people around. But it's still outdoor sport.
Yeah.
There's still breaks between sets that you're gonna have to find something to do, and you're next to water, you know, like all the time. So certainly healthy way of spending your summer days.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And generally you need someone to ski with, right?
Usually, yes.
Yeah, you can, I mean, at least one person you need it, you know.
Yeah.
So for sure. Nice. Let's get to talk a little bit about ski school, because I mean, from what it sounds, as you progressed as a skier, I mean, you had already won worlds. You already worked at Drews for a while. You were still becoming better and better, and then this new challenge of like, now you have your own lake, you have your own boat, you got to pull your own sets, you have to, you know, like now you have a ski school.
Yeah.
How was the early days with that? Like how did it start?
Well,
Any challenges?
Yeah, my life has always been a challenge because, you know, I grew up. I mean, I when I went to ULM in Louisiana, you know, my parents were not super rich. You know, I couldn't afford to do what everybody else were doing and buying fancy things. And I always, you know, find myself working or trying to find work to sustain myself. And working at ski school at Drews was very, very good. I think I learned a lot. It defined me a lot as a coach as I am today. But at that point, I was, okay, this is the point of my life. If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it, to be on my own. And it, again, was another challenge to me to see if I could do it by myself, if I could survive, if I could, you know, be successful or not. And I like challenges. And that's the way I am, you know, always been challenging my life for tournaments, for life, competing. And this was another addition to the challenges that I wanted to try.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if I could do it for myself. And of course, you start with no many people because nobody knows and you're still learning and this and that. But step by step, you're improving and people start liking it. And that's where I am now.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a little bit, like you've been coaching for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of your, like, you know, let's say, maybe not, let's say I'm a 28 off skier, right? You know, we're all different, you know, like, of course, but what are some of your tenets? Like, what are you looking in a skier? What are some of the fundamentals that you try to make sure they're there, you know?
Well, I mean, you can look at different things. You want to look how the body position is behind the boat. If the ski's doing the right thing, what the ski's doing around the turn. I think my strength in coaching is I try to adapt to the way the skier skis. I heard many coaches, not many, but I heard coaches explain the same thing and trying to coach the same thing to every single skier that passed through. And to me, my challenge is, okay, I can work on your hips, so I can work on your arms, I can work on your posture, I can work on your stance. And it equate always to the same movements at the end. But my challenge is to find what works best for you.
Yeah.
If you cannot move your hips, I got to find another way to move your hips.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it for me challenging and more fun.
Yeah.
Because I'm never saying the same thing to people. Whatever works for you, it might not work for somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's the fun of it, you know, and it's instant improvement. Because once people does it, it's like you can totally see, like, most of the people drop their hips. 99% of the people drop their hips, you know, behind the boat. So how do you fix it? Well, somebody might tell you, just try to keep the hips up. Well, yeah, thank you.
Right, exactly.
I can
you know
do
that thing that you do wrong, don't do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Or it's like, oh, I'm narrow. Yeah, get wider. Oh, yeah, thank you. How do I do that? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, it's trying to find a way to make it easier in the right time, in the right spot, and maintain that position all the way through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think I would fully agree that there's a lot of coaching out there that is like the same 6 things that they say all over again. And I mean, from a personal level, it would get so boring.
Yeah.
You know, that would be so boring, like you're a tape at that point.
Yeah.
But I think it's also counterproductive, right? Like, I mean, that movement and that way of, say, doing the pull out will not work for another skier.
Absolutely.
And now you have to find the challenge of like, how do I adapt it to this like 6'5" dude, 220, as opposed to like this young 97-pound girl. Like the fallacy is the same, but how do I get them there, you know?
And that's the thing that makes me having more fun. Trying to find that challenge, trying to find that movement that works for the person behind the boat.
And I think, as you said, it's more effective.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, to me, a sign of a great coach is when you take 5 athletes that grew up skiing with that coach, and they all ski differently, but you can't say they ski bad. Like, they're all skiing good, but they look very different at doing it. And that's when that's a proof that I've used lately. It's like, okay, that's a good coach. As opposed to the coach where the athletes all look the same, like they were pressed, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. In a mold.
In a mold, exactly. In a mold. All right. Any coaching pride that you want to share? Someone that, you know, you managed to help, and, you know, like anyone. Could be anyone. Maybe a story of someone that got through your ski school and improved and...
Oh, man. I don't know. Because, well, I coached the Garcia kids for 7 years. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm the one that brought them to be who they are, but I definitely helped because it was the early stage of their career. So, you know, you kind of press into their stance and the way they ski and the way they approach tournaments. And yeah, I think because it was a long process, you know, Alex was this little girl. She was so young and so tentative, and now look at her. She's aggressive and she's killing it. Taylor turned out to be more a jumper than a slalomer, but he still can run 39, and you know, so he ran in a tournament. So yeah, I'd say them because it was probably the most long period of time that I spent with somebody.
Someone young, and then someone that you
and
had.
It was every day. You know?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I kind of got included into their family a little bit, and it was fun for me to see them growing from little kids to, you know, teenagers, and now almost, you know, full grown.
Yeah, adults.
Yeah. So definitely that was pretty fun for me. That was like I took them kind of under my wings, and you know, got close to them, still close to them. You know, great kids, great people. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think you had a chance to, like, you know, like young skiers, so you can shape them. Yeah. But you also every day, not just the occasional ski school ride.
Yeah. No, that's good. I have other stories. I have a lot of like kids and stuff like that, but that probably is the longest period of time that I spent with somebody, so that was good. Yeah. You know.
What about, like, because we get them at our ski school at home sometimes, those cases, and I think they're the most fun when they like come in and they've struggled with this thing, and you just find kind of like the little lock, and then boom, you change.
Oh, all the time.
A summer, you know, like you change, you know.
Yeah, in one set. And I always say, like, people, I can't change your you improvement so much in one set, you know.
Yeah.
But you can give them something to work on. But that's the thing. Like, if I find that key that unlocks, you know, their positioning better on the ski, then I think the person automatically is gonna seek for that good feelings that they had.
Yeah.
So when I tell them to do something and it works instantaneously, then it's very rewarding because you see the results right away.
Right.
You know, and they get so happy.
Yeah, I think it's so rewarding.
It's just so rewarding.
Yeah. I don't coach as often as you do, but like when you do get those moments and you help someone
can see people just smiling.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? It's like, oh, that is
that's
something good today.
Yeah, it feels good. All right, so 2020. I know we started with that, but let's get deep into it. Like a lot of tournaments this year.
Yeah.
A lot of tournaments.
Lots of tournaments starting Moomba. We got probably the Travers Grand Prix again, I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think in the fall maybe. I think.
So, oh, not in May?
No, I think
yeah, you might be right. Yeah. Okay. So we go Swiss Pro Slalom, if I get to do it. Because I never got to do one because I was always hurt. Then we got Masters. After the Masters, there is
Lake 38.
And after Lake 38, there's Malibu Open.
I think there's Bennett's this year too.
Oh.
Bennett's Pro Slalom and Pro Jump.
I don't know.
The weekend before Malibu Open. So I think it's like Lake 38. There's a weekend off. And then it's like
7.
Bennett's, Malibu Open, French Malibu, Cesena, San Gervasio, Caiafa, Andy Mapple Pro-Am,
Europeans.
Fanglis.
And Europeans.
And Europeans, somewhere there.
Yeah.
They don't know yet, but somewhere there.
I don't even know where they are, the Europeans this year. Yeah, so intensive.
Nobody knows. It was supposed to be Greece, and now it's not Greece, and they don't know where they are. So to be defined.
To be defined. Yeah, lots of tournaments. But that's good because, you know, we had a kind of phase of where a lot of tournaments were happening in the US and nothing really happening in Europe. And then a guy that I know started a tournament in San Gervasio, and I think it kind of started another wave of getting people excited about tournaments. And so my hat goes, you know, my hat's off to you.
Thanks,
buddy. I think you're doing a great job. You promote the sport very well with the kids and with us. And as I said, it started a new kind of enthusiasm into the people to open the doors to more events and get sponsors, get more people involved, bring it back to where it was. Yeah. And now there's like way more events in Europe than in US.
Yeah.
You know,
which I never envisioned. I mean, my goal was to bring pro skiing back in Europe, because the last tournaments I skied were like in Europe was the Elise Cup and Princess Pro-Am. I got to ski once, but then we had 3 or 4 years with a drought. There was no tournaments in Europe.
Nothing. And I remember we were going like 2 months without nothing.
Yeah. And I remember, like, to me, I skied my first pro tournament in 2009. And that was Boo Boo really telling me, if you want to become a good skier, you got to go to pro tournaments. And you were telling me too, like, you got to go there, you got to learn, you got to be on the dock with the big names. And then I did it for a few years and we had nothing in Europe. And I thought, but what about young kids in Europe? There's so many great skiers in Europe. They don't get to have this experience, right? So I kind of want to see if I can provide it to them. And I started. The first 2 years I was by myself. I mean, the first 3 years, in fact. We were just us. And then 4th year, 3, 5th year, 5, last year, 6, this year, 6, you know? So someone like, say, Robert or Brando 6 years ago, you have those kids now. They're going to get a shot, you know, like Philippos, the guy from Greece. Massive dude, skis 3 at 41. If there were tournaments in Europe, he would have never got a shot of skiing against you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was hoping. But if you tell me 6 years ago that I would envisioned a tour in Europe with his own points, I mean, this is crazy, you know? So no, thank you. That's kind of why I started it. But no, this year, like lots of events in the US as well. It's like a busy season.
Yep.
How do you manage it? Because obviously last year there were a lot of events. Like, do you taper down your practice sets? How do you sort of approach something like that?
Well, last year after the Masters, I came back home and, I got into a car wreck right before the Masters, like a couple of weeks ago. The Masters again was a little bit hurt, but I got third, so I was happy. But there was 2 tournaments in France that I skipped in June, Funglis and Boresh.
Yeah.
Whatever their name was, I don't remember. And then I competed in Spain and your tournament, and then England and France, Lacanau. And during tournament, it's hard because you finish on Sunday, you probably rest on Monday, you ski maybe on Tuesday and Wednesday, then you got to start traveling again. So you get to ski more in a tournament than in practice. That's why I think this preseason is so important, to get dialed in and work on your movements, on your technique, on your equipment. So when it's time to go, you go and you just attack and you just go for it. And you don't have to like work on stuff. Yeah. So I rather pre-work before everything start happening, and then just go with the flow and attack there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it is challenging. I mean, I remember when I interviewed Wade, he was saying how he had to figure out a routine, because when he was in the Pro Tour, the tournaments were every weekend. And I mean, granted, they were almost solely in the US, but like he had to have a schedule of like, okay, this off, my first set is this, my second set is this, and I guess when you started to ski the Pro Tour, it wasn't a tour really anymore, was it?
When I started, my first pro tournament was in 2002 in Charleston, I think. And it went on for another couple of years, but it was kind of fading. But it still was a pro tour. Okay. It was still full on, like cameras and stuff like that, sponsors, and it was combined with wakeboarding. So we're trying to push together. But then we hit like dry for many years. Yeah. And then it came back in 2008 with the Mascara Pro Tour. Yeah. And then the economy crashed, and that kind of went bad. And then from there on, it was like just single events here and there, like Malibu Open, another tournament here. But it was never like a combined tour. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I say what we see with more pro tournaments, I've been defending in the last 2 or 3 years, there has been a resurgence of skiing. Yeah. Would you agree with that? Like, do you see more skiers?
I think water skiing is coming back a little bit. It's definitely not losing. Yeah. I'm not trying to speak bad about other sports, but I think when wakeboarding came around, it took away a lot from skiing. From skiing for sure, because it's easier. You can do it anywhere, any body of waters. You can do it. You don't need a slalom course. But even that was maybe a phase, and it's kind of like not saying that it's dying, for course, because it's still a big sport. But for sure, the sales of water skis are almost surpassing the sales of wakeboards. Now, boards,
which is insane.
It is insane. Unfortunately, not in boat industry, because boats are still, I think, 90% wakeboards, surf boats, compared to water skiing. But as far as people getting involved into the sport, I think a lot of people is coming back to it. So they're bringing also younger generation into the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Like a lot of guests I had, I think, and we have a ski school in Italy, you have a ski school here, you go to tournaments, you do see more and more people. It's not like a boom, but like every year a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and a bit of like, I won't buy a wakeboard boat this year, I'll buy a ski boat, which obviously I'm super stoked about. I'm a skier. I love to see that. What do you think, it's just your opinion, like what could help that growth even more? in skiing?
Well, I mean, the best thing would be we're back on TV, but also nowadays people don't watch TV anymore.
Right.
You know, the days of ESPN in the 90s are over. They're different now. Now with technology, with phones, you can watch a tournament while you're driving down the road, you know, and
Which you shouldn't, but yeah.
yeah, with your eyes closed.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, yeah, it's a lot easier to get access to watch a tournament now. Back then, it was on like you got to be on watching TV, you know.
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure TV has its strength still, but as far as bringing it back to, I think we just got to bring it back to events where are in public places. We don't have to be worried so much about conditions, but we have to worry about more. Let people see it.
Yeah.
Bring it to like Moomba Masters.
Yeah.
Last year, and I'm not exaggerating, I read the stats, over 1 million people went to the Moomba Festival.
Right.
Over the weekend. Insane. And people, they don't know what we're doing, they're going to stop and look. You know? And I think bring it more to where there's more people just walking around on a park, or they're not there just to come watch the tournament, then I think that will help. Other ways to help growing the sport is, you know, get involved with kids. Get kids involved in the sport. Let them try, see if they can, you know, if they like it. Media nowadays is everything.
Yeah.
You know, media is everything nowadays. But I think it's growing back to not where it was, but it's slowly coming back to it.
Yeah, I think you're bringing a good point. That's one of the points that Jay brought up when I interviewed him. He said, we need to stop looking at those days. Yeah. It's a different world, and how do we grow it, right? And his big thing, which I agree, at least in US, is a great way to do it, is collegiate. Right?
For sure.
Those young professionals, they're going to become young professionals. They're going to buy a boat. They're going to buy skis. They're going to eventually have kids. They might get a membership at a club, and then the whole sport proliferates, right? Including those that were on campus and found the sign, hey, come ski, you know, you can come with us, right? They weren't even skiers.
Well, it has to be fun. It has to be fun, you know, for the kids. It can be, I think, it can be just, how do you say it? Like competitive, and that's it. It has to be fun.
Right.
You know, it has to have fun aside. Because that's why those kids in college love it so much. Because, yeah, they go to ski, but they go to party.
Yeah.
They get to meet new people.
Exactly.
And that's a good combination.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know the question is hard. I mean, there's no formula. You want to talk, there's a lot of variables in competitive water skiing. When you try to wrap your mind about how to grow a sport, the variables are 50 times more, right?
Yeah.
But it seems to me like a lot of the markers, if we want, or the stats are heading that way. Like I talk to ski school owners, they say, wow, now we have bookings like we used to have. Or like pro shops, they're selling gear, you know, like you go to a local record tournament, you see more skiers, you know, like. So there's a lot of indicators that are saying, well, maybe there's growth here, you know? And I think the wakeboard point you brought up is good. Like, it's not that wakeboard is dying, but they're experiencing what we experienced 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like a bit of a decline for whatever reason. Yeah. Who knows what reason?
Maybe it's expensive. I don't know. You know,
yeah,
could
maybe
be cost, could be, I don't know. Maybe danger. I don't know.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with wakeboarding. I mean, I did it a few times, and you know, I love those guys. I'm friends with many of those guys, but I talked to some people that actually designs and sells water skis, and in the same company they have a division that does wakeboarding, and they said, well, actually this year we sold more water skis than wakeboards.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
It surprises me. I'm a skier, surprises me for the better.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
of course. You know. Of course.
Wow. Well, Thomas, How long do you think we've been going for?
Now?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
How long do you think we've been chatting in front of the microphone?
1 hour?
Yeah, an hour and a half. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you guys tired of me?
No, but it's like one of those things like people think, oh yeah, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Yeah. Sweet. I don't know. Should we wrap it up?
Sure.
Well, first of all, what a pleasure. It was fun.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Anything we didn't talk about? Give us some shout outs, man. Like,
oh, for sure. Like my parents. My parents has been probably the best tool for me to define who I am now. They always supported me on everything I did. And, every decision that I made was always, always ask them and talk to them, discuss it. Hey, should I do this? Even like leaving Italy to go to university. Of course, my parents didn't want me to go because, but.
Yeah, neither did mine.
Of course, for a parent seeing their kid going on the other side of the world and not be there in case they need it, it's not easy. I understand it now. But, they always look after me and what was the best decision to make for me. And even now, I still call them and ask them, hey, should I do this or should I not do this? Should I wait? What do you think?
Yeah.
And then we created this bond for sure throughout the years. And, because they're so involved in water skiing, I'm so involved in water skiing. We're so close,
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely my parents, my sponsors, Malibu Boats, first of all. They've been supporting me for many, many years. They're great people. Lotto, good, and Thomas has been a new addition, and yeah. All these people that supported and believe in me and stuck with me throughout the years, through the up and downs, and the Italian Federation definitely helped me a lot. Always be on my side, good and bad. So yeah, that's for sure.
Nice.
Family, friends, sponsors, good people around me.
Yeah, you don't get there by yourself, do you?
No.
I mean, you or anyone.
No, of course. You gotta create your own circle of people that, and through my ski school in Italy or here, I always get to meet good people. It's always good people that is involved in our sport,
Yeah.
Of course, there's like the casual jerk, but,
Right.
it's usually it's good people.
And they're skiers, right? Like
Yeah,
it's so funny how that works. I always say it in the podcast, like you meet someone, I don't know, at Publix that you don't know, and you figure out they're skiers. Bon, like he's a skier or she's a skier.
Yeah,
you
he's in the circle.
Yeah,
He's in.
He's in. He's part of the gang.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Media trust. you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Thomas, this was a true pleasure. I'm glad we got to do it.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure for sure.
Want to go for some dinner?
Let's go.
Yeah, cool.
Manja. Manja.